I had my glass halfway to my lips when my father's voice sliced through the chatter. "Nobody needs your money, or you." The room didn't blink. My sister Riley tilted her head, entertained, as if she'd been saving that line for a toast. Heat rose under my collar. I kept my smile small, a blade sheathed. They expected me to swallow it. I'd been the family quiet, the buffer and fixer. At that table, the one I shopped, cooked, and cleared, I understood something they didn't. The fall had already started. Not mine, theirs. Silence was the price of belonging in our house. My parents never named it, but it lived in the pauses between their sentences. Little winters where I learned worth meant usefulness. If Riley forgot her portfolio, I drove across town. If Dad needed a sitter for Gran, I canceled plans. When Riley's bills multiplied, they migrated to me. Dependable, they called me. Dependable turns into servant when no one asks how you're doing. On camera, we looked wholesome, glazed ham, my mother Elise's tangerine pie gleaming like a trophy. People said we were lucky, they meant photogenic. Only Gran Ida looked at me and didn't count what I could carry. Peppermint tea, paperback novels, her papery hand over mine. "You don't have to save the whole world, chickadee." I didn't know she meant my world. Dad didn't look up. Mom kept carving. Riley smirked into her wine. Something in me clicked, a door setting its latch. That house was never mine. "It's fine," I said evenly, folding my napkin. I rose. The room cooled a degree. I heard them. I simply decided to stop performing. I didn't slam the door. I took my coat, stepped into clean cold, and let the porch light hum behind me. At my apartment, my hands finally steadied. Lamp on, shoes off, kettle set. The ritual slowed my pulse. The place had been a pause between skirmishes. Tonight it felt like ground that was mine. I opened my laptop and a folder I'd avoided for years. Family ledger, bank PDFs, transfers, screenshots, those late-night, just until Friday texts. I laid them out like shards on a white table. Patterns surfaced, same accounts, same promises, Riley's emergencies, Mom's, "We're all pitching in," Dad's, "Be sensible." And Riley's husband Caleb with his breezy IOUs and sliding repay dates. Every "you're a lifesaver" evaporated before the transfer cleared. I'd thought speaking up would be cruel. Silence had only made me convenient. Nadia at work once said, "If you're tired of being the net, call attorney Alton Reyes." I'd laughed then, I didn't now. I wrote the email with dates and tallies and attached proof until the bar filled. My finger hovered, then pressed send. The click wasn't thunder, it was a lock engaging. His reply came quickly. "This reads as a systemic financial exploitation. If you wish, we can proceed." Proceed loosened something in my chest. We met in a small downtown office. I told him everything, from the first loan to tonight's sentence. He listened, asked precise questions, and slid a plan across the desk. Document, file, notify. Outside, winter air felt new against my face. I walked to the corner, bought peppermint tea out of habit, and recognized whose habit it was. Gran Ida's. I cupped the heat, steadier than I'd felt in years. 2 weeks later, Alton called. The agency had opened a case. "You can stay out of sight," he said, "or you can witness." I chose witness. My parents' house looked unchanged. Cedar wreath, crack in the step. I knocked once and stepped in. Mom startled. Dad straightened. Riley drummed her nails. Caleb sprawled. "I thought you didn't need me," I said, setting my bag on my old chair. A firm knock rattled the frame. Dad opened the door to 2 investigators with badges. "Financial Crimes Unit," the woman said. "Thomas and Elise Whitaker, Riley Whitaker, Caleb Morrow." Silence tightened the room. "There's been a mistake," Mom breathed. "There hasn't," I said. They read dates and amounts. Caleb scoffed, then shut up when the totals stacked. Riley blanched at her own messages on a tablet. Emojis beside requests that never ended. Dad tried dignity, Mom tried tears. Neither balanced the ledger. Caleb spun toward me. "You called the cops on family?" "I stopped hiding what you did," I said. "That's different." When they asked for statements, I left. I didn't want the spectacle, I wanted the boundary. At the door, Dad called, voice hard. "If you leave now, don't come back." "I left when you decided my worth was a wallet," I said, and closed the door softly. Afterward came voicemails, pleas framed as love. I found a smaller apartment of my own. Peppermint tea, Gran Ida's key on a hook, and the shape of unburdened time. Some evenings I sit by the window and breathe. Love without respect is not loyalty, it's captivity. I choose respect. I choose silence that guards, not erases. And I am finally mine.